here cleanliness, Ani Bashish Chin, Bashi Dashi Che, Sanji Dashanala. I could our son this year. Mr. Chair, members of the committee, I will be listening to the meeting and waiting for questions. Good morning to all.
Thank you, Ms. Khan. Mr. Yates from Speaker's Office.
Good morning, all. Good morning. Thank you, Chairman Nez, honorable members of the Resource and Development Committee. Good morning. My name is Joaquin Yates. I'm the Legislative Staff Assistant for the Office of the Speaker. Thank you, everyone, and welcome.
Thank you. Honorable Amber Kennesbaugh Crotty.
Yeah, thanks, yes, Chairman Nez, RDC committee members, good morning, the staff, everyone on the call. Yes, Delegate Stewart for your prayer. Sheikh Ani, Nishledo, Belagana, Viking people, Bashishin, Destiny, Desechedo, Belagana, Irish people, Dashamnele, J. Amber, Kenas Bakrati, Yaneshet, Tohatsoy, Ben Shah. I represent on the council Sheep Springs, Tigray Hills, Tolina, Sanofsky, Red Valley, Cove, Gadiahi, and Biklabato. Sit on the Budget and Finance Committee and chair of the Sexual Assault Prevention Subcommittee. So thank you, Chair and committee members, for entertaining our legislations today. Back to you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Claudia. Honorable Elmer Begay, Sitsila.
Okay, Chino, other members of the RDC Resource Development Committee. Aradam Chiyad Chibetiko, Elmer P. Begay, I don't know Inslinge, Nast as a Tapa and Slow, Kodichi, the Bashin, Batin, the City, Clash, Edisonal, Arabana Saga, a Dalcon, told to the door around 18 Tisto, around Twahatli in the wells, and like about a white cone, and would be toy grease with them. But they're like, yeah, you know.
Thank you. Honorable Chairman Otto So.
Morning, members of the Resources and Development Committee, not on the audition and Chairman Liz, Chairman Vice Chairman Walker, those members, those and the those shape Resource Development Committee. Others Mado did I guess that I'm a big so the auto so in the share now quite not toy get cleaning and a couple behind but she look at that's shade out to not in the scenario. So tournament the basement so unsnow a kahanga hot snow koi oh this is not those no no nash but not shahado tournament no iba not those bunch so yeah.
Yes, too. Honorable Paul Begay. Honorable Paul Begay. Press star 6. Honorable Paul Begay. And Hakushila National Pro. We have quite a bit of a discussion. We'll go into executive session. We have 2 legislations, so go to I'd like to say welcome to the Office of the President, Vice President, Mr. Davis Filford, Department of Justice, Veronica Blockhat, April Quinn, as well as New Mexico, Department of Transportation, Mr. James Mexia and Dana Garcia, welcome. From GLAD, Eddie Anderson, as well as Mr. Dwayne Clark from Office of Navajo Government Development. Welcome to our RDC meeting. And we'll go to number 3, reviewing and approving the agenda. Mr. Tai, could you read the agenda, please?
Chair, members of RDC, the proposed agenda reads as follows. Resource and Development Committee of the 24th Navajo Nation Council, regular meeting Wednesday, August 31st, 2022, 8 a.m. Presiding Honorable Ricky Nez, Chairperson. Honorable Thomas Walker Jr., Vice Chairperson. Location via telecommunications. 1. Called meeting to order, roll call, invocation, announcements. 2. Recognizing guests and visiting officials. 3. Reviewing and approving the agenda. 4. Reviewing and approving the journals. None. 5. Receiving reports. A. Report by the Navajo Department of Justice Natural Resources Unit on the 32-point agreement between Mobile Exploration and Product U.S. Inc., Navajo Nation and Untitled Chapter. Executive session. Presenter Veronica Blackhat and April Quinn. 6. Old business. None. 7. New business. A. Legislation 0153-22. An act relating to the Resource and Development Committee and Budget and Finance Committee, accepting the Auditor General's audit of the Indian Wells chapter and approving the chapter's proposed corrective action plan. Sponsor Honorable Elmer P. Begay. B. Legislation 0154-22. An action relating to Resource and Development Committee approving the grant of right-of-way to New Mexico Department of Transportation for the purpose of constructing, operating, and upgrading and maintaining the existing roadways, culverts, ditches, and bridges along U.S. Highway 64, project number 1501171 and 5101172, located on Navajo Nation Trust Land in Lictagabato Chapter, Navajo Nation, San Juan County, New Mexico. Sponsor Honorable Amber Kiznesbakrati. Co-sponsor Honorable Thomas Walker Jr. 8. Close the meeting announcements and adjournment. Chair, members of RDC, that is the proposed agenda run into the record. Back to you, Chairman.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tahi. Honorable members of RDC, let's have a motion and a second.
Chairman, I'll motion.
Honorable Key Allen Begay Jr. and second by
Chairman, I'll second.
Honorable Vice Chair Walker. Yesterday, we made a recommendation to add a special meeting with RDC as well as Department of Justice, OLC, and NTUA for a continued discussion on broadband telecommunications. Navajo Telecommunications Regulatory Commission will be invited to this special meeting. So if you would like to make a motion for that, you're more than welcome.
Chairman, I'll motion Freeland.
Honorable Freeland, thank you. Second by
Stewart.
Honorable Stewart. We will add this to the agenda for a scheduled meeting approval. Any comments or questions on Amendment 1?
Chairman, I have
none. Yes, go ahead.
Chairman, with the meeting with the NTUA, I appreciate that. As a comprehensive, I know that there was another award of funding to NTUA regarding the NTIA. Could we ask before the meeting of what the content or who the projects went to Haida, based on then how did they determine 50 million being awarded to the Navajo Nation. That's it. So add, but not sure. So that's it. That's it. So yeah, that's and so on. So because all these fundings are being allocated, it just seems that certain communities are just being left out. So what that actually that's it. I'll go into the that we've listen so Mr. Chairman. So I mean they made it public yesterday. They made the announcement. So they might as well list of who's all the recipient of those projects for the community. Chairman.
Honorable Begay, when yesterday during our RDC meeting, we requested special meeting with NTUA, Land Department, as well as NTRC, Federal Department of Justice, as well as OLC, and you did request a directive at that time as well. So when we have this scheduled meeting, special meeting, because it has to have a directive action on there, we can't have a leadership meeting. During that time, we can have all that, but we'll have Mr. Tahi make a note of that. And even before we go into executive session, perhaps NTUA can provide that information if that's how you wish to proceed. So during the special meeting, we can start the special meeting, start the reports by NTUA, and then go into executive session, because they did say they have some confidential and sensitive information they would like to share with us. So,
Appreciate that, Chairman. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Tahi, if you would make a note of that when we do have that special meeting, and let us know what dates will be available once we add it to the agenda. Mr. Tahi.
Chair members of RDC, I make note of it right now.
Thank you, Mr. Tahi. Any other comments or questions on Amendment 1? I hear none. Honorable Vice Chair Walker, how do you vote?
Chairman, I vote green. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Begay?
Chairman Green.
Thank you. Honorable Daniels?
Chair Green. Green.
Thank you. Honorable Freeland?
I vote green, Chairman.
Thank you. Honorable Stewart?
Green, Chairman.
Thank you. We have a vote of 5 in favor, 0 opposed. Chair not voting. Motion carries on Amendment 1. Back to the main motion, Shanant. Any comments or questions? I hear none. Honorable Vice Chair Walker, how do you vote?
I vote green.
Thank you. Honorable Begay?
Chairman Calvert Green. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Daniels? Honorable Freeland?
I vote green.
Thank you. Honorable Stewart?
Green, Chairman.
Thank you. Honorable Daniels?
Green. Green.
Thank you. We have a vote of 5 in favor, 0 opposed. Chair not voting. Motion carries. We have an approved agenda before us. And number 4, reviewing and approving journals. There's none. Number 5, receiving reports. And my recommendation is to have a motion to suspend the floor rules and go directly to new business. There's 2 legislations we need to take care of. And we only have an hour and a half left too.
Chairman, motion.
Honorable Begay, thank you. Second by? Freeland. Honorable Freeland, thank you. Any comments or questions? I hear none. Honorable Vice Chair Walker, how do you vote?
I vote green.
Thank you. Honorable Begay,
Kell votes green. Thank you.
thank you. Honorable Daniels,
Green.
thank you. Honorable Freeland,
Green.
thank you. Honorable Stewart,
Green, Chairman.
thank you. We have a vote of 5 in favor, 0 opposed, chair not voting, motion carries. We'll go to new business at this time, Shenandoah. We're on number 7A, legislation 0153-22. Honorable Elmer Begay, are you still on the call with us? Honorable Elmer Begay, going twice. *6 to unmute. Honorable Elmer Begay.
Chairman
We'll
Nez,
get
I do
down
see
to-
Delegate Elmer Brigade on the call. I'm not sure if he's having technical difficulties.
Okay. There's no co-sponsor on this legislation here. Honorable Elmer Begay, press *6 to unmute. We may have to come back to that legislation. Let's go down to B, legislation 0154-22. Honorable Chair Crotty, are you on the call with us still?
Yes, Chairman, committee members, I'm on the call. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Tai, could you read this into the record, please?
Chair members of RDC, Resource and Development has final authority over this legislation. This is tracking number 0154-22. Date August 25th, 2022. Title: the resolution, proposed standing committee resolution, an action relating to the Resource and Development Committee, approving the grant of right-of-way to New Mexico Department of Transportation for the purpose of constructing, operating, upgrading, and maintaining the existing roadways, culverts, ditches, and bridges, allowing U.S. Highway 64, project numbers 5101171 and 5101172, located on Navajo Nation Trust Land in Untitled Chapter, Navajo Nation, San Juan County, New Mexico. Purpose: the purpose of this legislation is to approve the grant of right-of-way and to New Mexico Department of Transportation to construct, operate, upgrade, and maintain the existing roadways, culverts, ditches, and bridges along U.S. Highway 64, project number 5101171 and 5101172, located on Navajo Nation Trust Lands in Untitled Chapter, Navajo Nation, San Juan County, New Mexico. This legislation will waive the requirement for the bond, insurance, or alternative form of security on part of the grantee and will waive validation and consideration for the right-of-way. Chair members of RDC Resource and Development Committee has final authority over this legislation. The primary sponsor on this legislation is Delegate Crotty. Co-sponsor is Delegate Walker Jr. Tracking number 0154-22. An action relating to Resource and Development Committee, approving the grant of right-of-way to New Mexico Department of Transportation for the purpose of constructing, operating, upgrading, and maintaining the existing roadways, culverts, ditches, and bridges along U.S. Highway 64, project number 5101171 and 5101172, located on Navajo Nation Trust Lands in Untitled Chapter, Navajo Nation, San Juan County, New Mexico. Be enacted. Section 1, authorities pursuant to 2 NNC Section 500B2. The Resource and Development Committee of the Navajo Nation Council has authority to grant final approval for all lands, withdrawals, non-mineral leases, permits, license, right-of-way, surface easements, and bond requirement on Navajo Nation lands and unrestricted fee lands. This authority shall include subleases, modification, assignment, leaseholding, encumbrance, transfer, renewals, and terminations. Section 2 findings. A, the New Mexico Department of Transportation has submitted a right-of-way application to construct, operate, upgrade, and maintain the existing roadways, culvert, ditches, and bridges along US Highway 64, project numbers 5101171 and 5101172, located on Navajo Nation trust lands in Telecom Chapter, Navajo Nation, San Juan County, New Mexico. The terms and condition is attached as Exhibit A. The proposed right-of-way map is attached as Exhibit B. The application is attached as Exhibit C. B, two land users have identified their consent forms as attached as Exhibit D. C, Telecom Chapter number resolution number CELB L-21-02-25 hereby approves and supports the State of New Mexico, San Juan County, Federal Navajo Nation Department of Transportation, and Highway Safety entities to partnership to continue to seek grants and fundings for improvement and construction of the New Mexico Highway 64 west of New Mexico, Arizona state line to Shiprock. Resolution BECL-21-02-25, additional Telecom Chapter Resolution BECL-19-11-07, BECL-19-10-03, BECL-17-5-28, BECL-17-05-30, BECL-15-07, BECL-15-21-07, and a memorandum dated May 4th, 2028 from the Telecom Chapter 2 NMDOT and NDOT are attached as Exhibit E. D, the Navajo Nation Department of Fish and Wildlife Biological Resources Compliance Form is attached as Exhibit F. The U.S. Department of Transportation Federal Highway Administration Memorandum dated November 3rd, 2022 to Richard Brigade, Navajo Nation Historic Preservation Department states, the NMDOT on behalf of FHWA has determined that the avoidance, minimization, and mitigation measures stated above finds that the purpose undertake CN 5101170 reconstruction of US 64 between Shiprock, New Mexico and Arizona border MP 0220 have no adverse effects on historic properties. Your concurrence with our findings of eligibility, effect, and resolution of adverse effects is respectfully requested. The concurrence of Mr. Richard Brigade, Navajo Nation Tribal Historic Preservation Officer, is dated 11/10/20. The November 3rd, 2022 memorandum is attached as Exhibit G. F, the New Mexico Department of Transportation Environmental Assessment for the U.S. Alignment Study, Arizona border to Shiprock, New Mexico, dated January 27, 2022, with appendixes A, B, C are attached as H. G, the New Mexico Department of Transportation requires a waiver of validation and waiver of bond insurance and alternative forms of security compensation for the right-of-way. H, a waiver of construction for this right-of-way is requested. The terms and conditions documents Exhibit A states that the terms of the right-of-way shall be for 20 years and the construction is assessed at $102,663.36. I, 2F CFR section 169.110 addresses how much monetary compensation must be paid for the right-of-way over across tribal lands. It states, A, right-of-way over across tribal lands may allow for any payment amount negotiated by the tribe will be deferred to the tribe and not required. A validation of the tribe submits a tribal authorization expressly states that it, 1, has agreed upon compensation satisfactory to the tribe, 2, waives validation, and 3, has determined that the accepted such agreed upon compensation and waiving validation is in the best interest. B, the tribe may request in writing that we determine fair market value, in which case we will use a validation in accordance with section 169.114. After providing the tribe with a fair market value, we defer to a tribe's decision to allow for any compensation negotiated by the tribe. C, if the condition in a paragraph A or B of this section are not met, we will require that the guarantee paid fair value based on the validation in accordance with section 169114. J 25 CFR section 169.103 addresses bond, insurance, and alternative forms of security. It states, A, you must include payment of bonds, insurance, and alternative forms of security with your application for the right-of-way in the amount that covers 1, the highest rental significance in the grant, unless compensation is a one-time payment. 2, the estimate damage results of the construction of any permanent improvements. 3, the estimate damage and remediation costs of any potential releases of contaminants, explosive hazards, hazardous materials, or waste. 4, the operation and maintenance charges of any land allocated within an irrigation project. 5, the restoration of the premises to the condition at the start of the right-of-way or reclamation to some other specific condition if agreed to by the lawmakers. F, we may waive the requirement for a bond, insurance, or alternative form of security. 2, for tribal land, deferring it to the maximum extent possible to the tribe's determination that a waiver of bond, insurance, or alternative form of security is in the best interest. K, the application for the right-of-way has reviewed by the Fish and Wildlife, Historic Preservation, Minerals, Navajo Nation, Environmental Protection, Division of Natural Resources, and Department of Justice, and approved or found significant. Executive Official Review Document number 1001835 and memorandum dated July 19th, 2022 and July 22nd, 2022 from the Navajo Nation Environmental Protection Program are attached as Exhibit I. Section 3, approval. The Resource and Development Committee of the Navajo Nation Council hereby approves the grant of right-of-way to New Mexico Department of Justice to construct, operate, upgrade, and maintain the existing roadways, culvert, ditches, and bridges along U.S. Highway 64. Projects numbers 5101171 and 5101172 located on Navajo Nation trust lands in the Tagapato chapter, Navajo Nation, San Juan County, New Mexico, are described in the map attached as Exhibit B. B, the Resource and Development Committee of the Navajo Nation Council hereby approves the grant of right-of-way subject to but not limited to the terms and conditions attached as Exhibit A. The Resource and Development Committee of the Navajo Nation Council hereby waives the requirement for a bond, insurance, alternative form of security on the part of the grantee based on the determination that construct, operate, upgrade, and maintain the existing right-of-ways, culvert, ditches, and bridges along U.S. Highway 64. Project number 5101171 and 5101172 benefits the Navajo Nation, and such a waiver is in the best interest of the Navajo Nation pursuant to Title 25 CFR Section 169.103 F2. D, the Resource and Development Committee of the Navajo Nation Council hereby waives validation and consideration of the right-of-way. It has determined that accepting the agreed upon compensation waiving validation is in the best interest of the Navajo Nation pursuant to Title 25 CFR Section 169.110. E, the Resource and Development Committee of the Navajo Nation Council hereby authorize the President of the Navajo Nation to execute any and all documents affecting the intent and purpose of this resolution. Attached, you have Exhibit A, which is the Navajo Nation right-of-way terms and conditions. You've attached Exhibit B, which is the proposed right-of-way map. Attached is Exhibit C, the U.S. Department of Interior Bureau of Indian Affairs, the right-of-way application. Attached is Exhibit D, the consent to use Navajo tribal lands. Attached is Exhibit E, the Tagapato chapter's resolutions of the Tagapato chapter. You have Exhibit F, which is the Biological Resource Compliance Form, Navajo Nation Department of Fish and Wildlife, in the DFW review number 19 WSP 101. You have attached as Exhibit G from the New Mexico Division of U.S. Department of Transportation, addressed to Richard Begay, Tribal Historic Preservation Department, dated November 3rd, 2022. You have Exhibit H, the New Mexico Department of Transportation Environmental Assessment for for the US 64 alignment study from Arizona border to Shiprock, New Mexico. You've attached as Exhibit I, document number 018335, date issue 03/18/2022, the executive official review. Then you have the first report for the Legislative Internet Public Review Summary for legislation number 0154, sponsor Honorable Amro Kisnas Bakrati. This legislation was posted on August 25th, 2022 at 6:35 p.m. The 5-day comment period ended August 30th, 2022. There was no comment supporting this legislation. There was no comments opposing this legislation. There was no comments or recommendation on this legislation. Chair members of RDC, that is legislation number 0154-22 read into the record. Back to you, Chairman.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tahi, for reading this legislation into the record. Before we move forward, Honorable Amber Kennesbaugh-Crotty, I noticed the legislation, the signature area, the line has no signature on it. Did you sign one already?
Chairman Nez, thank you for the question. Yes, I was able to travel into Window Rock yesterday, and if staff can assist the committee with the updated form with my signature on it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Crotty. Honorable members of RDC, this legislation, RDC has final authority over this. Let's have a motion and a second.
Chairman, I'll motion Freeland.
Thank you, Honorable Freeland. Second by?
Chairman, I'll second.
Thank you, Honorable Vice Chair Walker. Honorable members of RDC, do you have any comments or questions? One twice. Going 3 times. Let's put it to a vote. Honorable Vice Chair Walker, how do you vote?
Chairman, I vote green. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Begay?
Chairman Gale with green. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Daniels?
Green.
Thank you. Honorable Freeland?
Green.
Thank you. Honorable Stewart?
Green, Chairman.
Thank you. We have a vote of 5 in favor, 0 opposed. They're not voting. Motion carries. Thank you very much, colleagues. Honorable Amber Kennesbaugh-Crotty, thank you for sponsoring this legislation.
Yes, thank you, Chairman Nez. I appreciate the support from the committee members and the Office of the President, Jonathan Nez and his staff for helping us with the right-of-way and our partners with New Mexico Department of Transportation. Chairman, the next step is the President is awaiting the resolution, and BIA has been notified in terms of this needing immediate attention. Thank you so much, committee members.
Thank you, New Mexico DOT, Mr. James Mexia, as well as Ms. Dana Garcia. Thank you very much. We'll go back to legislation 0153-22. Honorable Elmer Begay, are you on the call with us?
Oh, yeah, thanks. No, I'm on the line.
Okay. Make sure you stay on the lines. It's Mr. Ty, could you read this into the record?
The chair members of RDC, you have tracking number 0153-22, the date August 19th, 2022, regarding an act relating to the Resource and Development Committee and Budget and Finance Committee, accepting the Auditor General's audit of the Indian Wells chapter and approving the chapter's proposed corrective action plan. Purpose of this legislation is to accept the Auditor General's audit of Indian Wells chapter and to approve the chapter's proposed corrective action plan. Chair members of RDC, Budget and Finance Committee has final authority over this legislation, which will be read into the record in its entirety. The primary sponsor of this legislation is Elmer P. Begay. This is tracking number 0153-22, an act relating to the Resource and Development Committee and Budget and Finance Committee, accepting the Auditor General's audit of the Indian Wells chapter and approving the chapter's proposed corrective action plan. Section 1 outlines authority. Section 2 outlines the finding, which includes an Exhibit A, Exhibit B, Exhibit C, and Exhibit D. Section 3 is accepting the Auditor General's audit of the Indian Wells chapter and approving the chapter's proposed corrective action plans with references in Exhibit A and Exhibit C. In Section 4 is the directive. Section 5, the effective date. Section 6 is the savings clause. Attaches Exhibit A, which is the Office of the Auditor General, Navajo Nation Special Review of the Indian Wells Chapter, the report number 20-10, date September 2020. Attaches Exhibit B, the Indian Wells Chapter of the Navajo Nation, letter dated August 18, 2022, Helen Brown, assigned by Indian Wells Chapter. Attaches Exhibit C, the Indian Wells Chapter Special Review Corrective Action Plan, and attaches Exhibit D, the Indian Wells Chapter of Navajo Nation Resolution of Indian Wells Chapter Resolution number IWC-22-37. Then you have the first Internet Public Review Summary for legislation number 0153-22, sponsors Honorable Elmer P. Begay. This legislation was posted on August 25th, 2022 at 6:31 p.m. The 5-day comment period ended August 30th, 2022. There was no comment supporting this legislation. There was no comments opposing this legislation. There was no comments or recommendation on this legislation. And chair members of RDC, that is legislation number 0153-22 read into the record. Back to you, Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Tahi. Honorable members of RDC, let's have a motion and a second.
Chairman, I motion.
Thank you, Vice Chair Walker. Thank you, Honorable Freeland. Honorable Elmer Begay, please identify your agents. Freeland, chapter official.
Chinado, other members of the RDC members. I have a Linda Yazzie, chapter secretary, on the line, and then also the chapter manager, Lenita Sherry Yazzie, she's on the line for Indian Wells chapters. So they're my agent now.
Oh,
they're
okay.
nice.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Begay. Before I give you 20 minutes, we'll have the Office of the Auditor General. Are you on the call with us? Office of the Auditor General.
Good morning. Yes, this is Jasmine Jishi with the Office of the Auditor General.
Okay, you may proceed with your presentation.
Okay. Good morning, members of the Resources and Development Committee. We are here to present the special review of the Indian Wells chapter and their corrective action plan. This review was conducted for the 12-month period ending September 30th, 2019. During the audit, the officials were made up of the President, Benson Stewart, the Vice President, George John, and the Secretary Treasurer, Nora John. The Office of the Auditor General has done a special review of the Indian Wells chapter to determine whether internal controls are functioning as designed to ensure that the chapter spends funds in accordance with Navajo Nation and chapter policies and procedures. I'll go ahead and go into the report for finding 1. Not all fixed assets are reported on the balance sheet. The balance sheet reported fixed assets valued at $2,600. However, the property inventory has a total fixed asset value of $866,495. The assets reported in the balance sheet is understated by $863,895. Finding 2, property items are not tagged with identification numbers. 20 property items totaling 443,090 were physically inspected. All items did not have property identification tags. The property inventory also did not identify property identification numbers for the items reviewed. Property owned and controlled by the chapter cannot be detected for recovery and insurance purposes if they should be stolen or misplaced. Finding 3, financial transactions are not completely and accurately posted in the accounting system. In the review of the accounting system, we detected the following: revenues totaling $2,500 were not posted. Budgets totaling $11,645 were not posted. 6 disbursements totaling $3,520 were posted to the wrong general ledger code. A travel advance of $408 was transposed and incorrectly expensed as $480. Incomplete and inaccurate posting of transaction results in unreliable financial statements. Finding 4, cash receipts are not safeguarded and deposited in a timely manner. For the 12-month review period, there were 14 deposits of cash and checks. Of this, 79% deposits took between 12 to 70 business days to deposit cash receipts. The amounts of untimely deposits were anywhere from $217 to $6,238. Furthermore, the chapter stored undeposited cash in the safe, but during a field visit, auditors observed the safe to be open and left unattended with cash sitting outside of the safe. With late deposits and minimal safeguards, there is a risk that cash could go missing and undetected. In addition, funds could be lost if checks expired after 90 days and are no longer valid to redeem. Finding 5, not all funds have approved budgets in place. A total of $7,298 of internally generated revenue and $10,217 of external revenue did not have community approved budgets in place. In the absence of unapproved budgets, any expenditure of these funds will be considered unauthorized. Finding 6, the chapter cannot demonstrate that housing assistance projects are completed. For the 12-month review period, there were 4 housing assistance recipients who were assisted a total of 4,131. Housing assistance files for all 4 recipients did not have performance reports to verify that housing assistance projects were completed. There is a risk that building materials totaling 4,131 were used for unauthorized purposes or are unaccounted for due to theft, misuse, or deterioration. This could be a financial loss for the chapter. Finding 7, there are no controls in place to safeguard building materials against loss, damage, and theft. The chapter has building materials remaining from a purchase made years ago for a chapter project. There was no inventory control sheet developed to keep track of the use of materials. Over the years, some materials that were issued as housing assistance, but the items, quantity, and recipients were not properly documented. Based on our observation of the current inventory, some of the materials have deteriorated. There is a risk that the building materials may be stolen, misused, or wasted without detection. This would result in a financial loss to the chapter. Finding 8, the chapter does not competitively procure goods and services. For the 12-month review period, we reviewed 14 operating expenses totaling $7,170. Of this amount, 50% of the expenses totaling $1,780 were not competitively procured by obtaining price quotes. The chapter potentially paid higher prices for goods and services. Finding 9, travel requests, advances, and reimbursements lacked prior approval. For the 12-month review period, we identified 66 travel disbursements. 30 travel disbursements totaling $7,409 were reviewed, and the following were noted. 6 of 30 travel authorization forms were not approved prior to travel. 3 of 14 advances were not approved prior to issuing checks. 3 of 30 reimbursements were not approved prior to issuing checks. Without approved travel authorizations and approval of related expenses, travel disbursements totaling $3,096 are questionable. Finding 10, the accounts maintenance specialist approved housing assistance for a family member. For the 12-month review period, the chapter did not have a housing committee. Therefore, the chapter staff was approving housing applications. However, this practice was contrary to policies and procedures. However, further, in the absence of a community services coordinator, the accounts maintenance specialist approved and awarded housing assistance in the amount of $1,200 to a family member. This was a conflict of interest that is prohibited by policies and procedures. An approval process controlled by one individual, in this case, the accounts maintenance specialist, can influence the process unfairly and result in awards to family members. This practice will prevent community members with more critical and dire housing needs from getting assistance. In meeting the audit objective, we interviewed the chapter administration and officials, observed chapter operations, and examined available records. More specifically, we tested samples of expenditures for internal controls and compliance requirements by using a non-statistical judgmental method. In addition, the chapter created a corrective action plan, and it was reviewed and accepted by our office. This concludes the presentation of the report. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Chair Koro Nos Manado to Honorable Elmer Begay. You have 20 minutes, sir, with your agents, Ms. Yazzie, both.
Yana, ito, aro, Senado, other members of the RDC. Other I got Ms. Brown for your report to me to us. I don't that I have my agents on the line called Sherry and Linda. Madosa Deja, are you on the line? And go ahead and introduce yourself and the efforts that you guys are doing.
Yeah,
Good morning.
go ahead, Sherry.
I'm sorry. My name is Sherry Dick, and I am the Community Services Coordinator for Indian Wells Chapter. I'm originally from Whitecone, although not often. I've started working with back to Indian Wells previous administration in January of 22, and we've strived to correct these actions that were due to deficiencies that was raised. And so right now we just want to move forward to certifying the chapter and requesting to accept our corrective action plan. But to my knowledge, a lot of these were just overseen. The plan of operation was not complied with, and things, I guess, people were just services done without adhering to what was put in place. I didn't, Shanatani, I'm requesting your assistance in passing the plans that are put in place, the corrective actions. So move forward. Yeah.
Binish and Atani and honorable delegates that are on the Resource and Development Committee. Linda Nelson yin Ado Secretary Treasurer for Indian Wells Twaatleto. Ado Trotsonin Shlido, Tenja Kinebash's chain, Todicini dash Chedo, Tsenajini dash another. Ado Akodo Twaatleto in a shadow Aquashiaho Ado di April last year, ita in the politics hot shananish on haya. And as soon as I walked into the office, took my oath, that corrective action hot asset sauce no. And my main objective for being an official is to get Indian Wells certified and all these findings that are here. I've been working on it ever since I walked into my role as a secretary treasurer. I've been looking at all the policies, amending the policies, taking care of the financial paperwork. I'm at the chapter almost every day. I'm there. Although we work with the ASC office, Indian Wells chapter AMS then 80 back in 2020. Ado stand Tananta ako ASC office then financial records. Ikides ito ane ko check nga yin an here kwa ito del ida. Okay, right now we're still minus that. CSC do we didn't have one in office when I started working on this, and ni kaalawat na kindes ni kaalawat any na di oven ignisi tra January at dying that you should share in honey any nana luo.
Ms. Nelson?
Yes. Yes, I can hear you.
Ms. Nelson, please hold. Chairman Nez got knocked off the call. I think that's the reason why he couldn't hear you. He should be joining us shortly.
All right.
Mr. Ty, can you hear me now?
Yes, Chairman, I can hear you now.
Okay, I'm sitting in one place, but I got knocked off somehow. Honorable Elmer Begay, are you done with your presentation?
Shanant, I believe that Ms. Yalzi, the chapter secretary, was in the middle of her introduction and then reporting, going over the findings that they're going through and then explaining themselves. Thank you.
Okay, you may proceed.
Oh yeah, Ani, I'm sorry that you got cut off. Modern technology is doing that to us a lot lately. Kunde here o kwati na sons na hat na nos ido na ha nasa do nas hot atlegi ein trago ben he ka do shul. And like I said, I've been working on this almost 24/7. I am at the chapter asking questions and trying to how to remedy all this. And we've been changing our policies and having the chapter membership know about it, and we're doing it with resolutions and all that. So we like Indian Wells to become a certified chapter, and we like to keep in line with these policies. I don't know if you heard, but we work closely with the ASC office, Delcon ASC office with my sister Eunice Begay Riajni Kanaluo and implementing some of these policies, and she overlooks all our financial paperwork right now till we get an AMS at Indian Wells chapter. Ko ide hot echo. Hia kwa nakaho ato hia kwa hot aben hiche zito leko hia Chiaj Elmer for representing our legislation here. And if there's any other questions, I'll be online.
Honorable Begay.
Back to the Shenandoah RDC members. This will conclude our report to you.
Thank you. Honorable Elmer Begay, your agent, as well as the Office of the Auditor General. Honorable members of RDC, do you have any comments or questions? Then, yeah,
Chairman.
go Sheila. Honorable Freeland, go ahead.
Chairman, just a comment. Good morning, Honorable Elmer Begay, Shadigia, Ms. Yazi. Thank you for the update, and we appreciate the explanation as a committee member. And you know, and it's always hard to hear when our chapters are in these type of positions, and especially when they inherit a lot of these situations or these corrective action plans. And you know, we can say that because you know we've heard a lot of our chapters going through the same situation, previous official or previous patient, whoever previously kind of put chapters in these situations before, and the new officials have to inherit it. Although it's good to hear that you're working with the ASC out of Telecom, on the Shigia. It's good to hear that, and hopefully they continue to support you all. You know, I just want to say thank you for working on your corrective action plan, and please continue to work on it and get the corrective action plans met, the criteria GIA. That way, you know, you have very big intentions, and we commend you for that. You have your goals on certification, and it would mean a lot if it would show a lot too if you fix these corrective action and then you went to a certification, and that's a huge accomplishment for you all. So Shia, we just want to wish you all the best on that endeavor. And I have 2 chapters that are seeking certification. One of them is going through an audit this week, and they've come a long way. And I really appreciate the chapters moving in that direction. To see that they're doing things in a form and a fashion that is gearing towards the 5 management system. So I just want to commend you all, and please continue the work. Please continue the dedication that you put forth so far at Indian Wells, and Shia, we'll continue to support you all that we can, and definitely appreciate it. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Honorable Freeland, for your statement. This audit was for October 2018 to September 2019. This is before we took office, right around that time, and during the first little few months of our offices when all this took place. So it's good that they're working on their LGA certification. Honorable Elmer Begay. Honorable members of RDC, any other comments or questions? I hear none. We'll go ahead and vote to accept and approve the corrective action plan for Indian Wells chapter. Honorable Vice Chair Walker, how do you vote?
I vote green.
Thank you. Honorable Kealan Begay Jr.
Chairman Kealan Begay, thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Daniels.
Green.
Thank you. Honorable Freeland.
I vote green, Chairman.
Thank you. Honorable Stewart.
Green, Chairman.
Thank you. We have a vote of 5 in favor, 0 opposed. Chair not voting. Motion carries. This legislation moves on to Budget and Finance Committee. So, yeah, thank you. Honorable Elmer Begay.
Oh, Kiado, Kido, Shinado, members of RDC. Yeah.
We're moving down to C, approving a special meeting, which will also be an executive session at that time when it's requested. The special meeting is for RDC, NTUA, Navajo Telecommunications Regulatory Commission, Department of Justice, OLC, and Navajo Land Department. Would like to have a motion and a second.
Chairman, I'll motion.
Honorable Freeland, motion, second by?
Keown.
Honorable Keown Begay Jr. Mr. Tahi, do you have a date for us?
Chair, members of RDC, the earliest that we can do this meeting would be Tuesday, September 20th. I can reserve the Navajo Nation Land Department conference room. So this way we can try to get people in person as well and also conduct this hybrid via Zoom as well, Chairman.
Okay, we'll approve it for that date, but if we need to modify that, then we can do that. We'll have you work on it for us. Thank you, Mr. Tahi. Honorable members of RDC, any other comments or questions?
Chairman.
Yes, go ahead.
Chairman Freeland, maybe just a recommendation. What if we went to NTUA and did it there?
Mr. Tahi, could you look into that?
Chair, members of RDC, yes, I can look into that. They do have a big enough conference room where we all can be 6 feet apart as well, Chairman.
Okay, that would work better at NTUA building. Thank you for that recommendation, Honorable Freeland. Any other comments or questions? I hear none. Honorable Vice Chair Walker, how do you vote?
Chair, I vote green.
Thank you. Honorable Begay?
Chairman Keown votes green. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Daniels?
I vote green.
Thank you. Honorable Freeland?
I vote green.
Thank you. Honorable Stewart?
Green, Chairman.
Thank you. We have a vote of 5 in favor, 0 opposed. Chair not voting. Motion carries. Thank you. We're done with new business. We'll go back up to number 5, receiving reports. A, report by Navajo Department of Justice Natural Resources Unit on the 32-point agreement between Mobile Exploration and Producing U.S. Incorporated, Navajo Nation, and Untitled Chapter. Ms. Blackhat, Ms. Quinn, are you on the call?
Chairman, this is April. I'm on the call.
Hi,
Okay,
Veronica. This is Veronica. I'm also on the call. I'll go ahead and
Thank you
refer
very
to
much.
April too.
Okay. Okay, good. What we'll do is, Mr. Tahi, let me do this. Let's have a motion and a second first, and then we'll go into executive session.
Freeland.
Honorable Freeland, thank you. Second by?
Stewart.
Honorable Stewart. Thank you. Shanand, we had a meeting over in Aneth, Utah, and met with Elk Petroleum, and we had a discussion on this 32-point agreement, and we would like to know what all this entails, and we need an attorney to expound on this agreement. So we have asked the Department of Justice as well as our own legal counsel to be on this call. So we would like to go into executive session. And then let's have a motion and a second.
Stewart?
Honorable Stewart, thank you. Second by
Chairman, I'll second.
Thank you, Honorable Vice Chair Walker. At this time, Mr. Tahi, did you send us an executive session number?
The chair members of RDC, I did send out the executive session number. It's sent out to all RDC members, Ms. Khan, Speaker's Office, Joaquin Yates, as well as OPVP Davis Filford and Teresita. I included Veronica Blackhat and April Quinn in that executive session Zoom link.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Tahi. It is now 9:22 a.m. We will come out of executive session at 10 o'clock because that's when the EAT starts. It's 9:23, so you may hang up. Well, let's vote on this executive session. Honorable Vice Chair Walker, how do you vote?
I vote green.
Thank you. Honorable Begay?
Chairman Key, I vote green.
Thank you. Honorable Daniels?
Green.
Thank you. Honorable Freeland?
Green.
Thank you. Honorable Stewart?
Green.
Thank you. So, Nanda, we'll go and hang up and have Department of Justice, RDC, our staff, as well as also the President, Vice President be on the call with us on this. So yeah, let's hang up and call into executive session.
Chairman.